That one ended quick. Hello, everybody. For those Americans here, happy 4th. For everyone else, happy Monday. You know, I hate Monday, but I do like you guys. I do like being here doing this. So, welcome. Gonna be a little mishmash of things today. Mm. So, welcome everyone. If you saw the thumbnail, you know some of the first things that we want to talk about. We're going to talk about the laundry and Petito suit. Um, uh, a little bit. We're gonna talk just a little bit about Brooks, but we're back talking about Amber Heard legally. Well, there's been a bit about her in the last week since I've been off from legal. And it's been kind of interesting. So could someone in the just let me know that the sound is coming through okay? If I need to do any mic adjustments, so I'm not blowing your ears out in your headphones or anything. Um, yeah, hey, Luke, how are you? Hi, Shay and Kim. Hey, Tiny Captain. Hey, Jen, Sandy, Wanda. Hey, nice to see you. Yeah, and nice to see all of you. Oh, thanks, Tiny. Good, good. Thank you, Kim. I appreciate it. So, yeah, let's start. You know, this has not been a very pleasant case, the Landry Petito case, as some of you may know already. Um, it's not exactly been one of the ones I want to cover the most. I kind of didn't cover it while she was missing and all of that breaking. It was quite distressing to me, and it was covered a lot. But I did find it fascinating after the fact that the parents of Gabby Petito, who, just brief update, she was found dead in after being missing for almost a month. They looked more than a month. They looked for her. They suspected that her boyfriend Brian Landry had something to do with it, as they were together when she went missing. Um, he was all over the place. He had come back to his parents' home at one point and then left again, and then he became missing. But basically, the lawsuit is based on the fact that Gabby Petito's parents believe that Brian Landry's parents knew what happened to her and kept it to themselves, interfered with an investigation, and didn't let anybody know and caused them undue duress for over a month. Now, there was a motion to dismiss filed by Brian Landry's parents, as you would think, in most cases of this, especially of a civil nature. There's always a motion to dismiss. You try to get it tossed from court. It's just, it's almost what I would call standard procedure, wouldn't you? Hmm? Mm. Oh, welcome. Hey, Autistic Shell. Thank you very much. Hey, everyone. Sorry I'm late. You're not late. If you're here, you're just on time. You come when you want to come. And it's nice to see you. And if everyone would do me a favor, on this lovely 4th of July is also Autistic Shell's birthday. Yeah, I did. I said it on YouTube. Shell, there you go. If everyone would wish her a happy birthday, one of our favorite people, and a very fantastic mod at my place and also over there at Aaron's. So, happy birthday, Autistic Shell. And thank you for being here. Well, with the Landrys filing that motion to dismiss, of course, it takes a little while. The judge is looking over everything. And basically, they feel that they are not responsible for anything like that. Although they did not cooperate with investigation. It's all documented. They did have information that they didn't come forward. He did come home at that time. And yeah, they just feel that it should have been tossed. However, a judge doesn't. A judge thinks there's enough there that it should go to a jury, that this civil trial should go forward, and they're not tossing the case. Okay, so now they're going to go through discovery, and they're going to have to go through, in some places, a mediation to find out if it's got teeth, and they'll go forward, and they're going to have a trial about this. They're not happy. The loss. This is tragic, actually. One of the reasons I don't like covering this is like both sets of parents have lost their child. Because as we found out later, Brian Laundrie killed himself. Recently, his notebook has been exposed. The FBI photographs of it, exactly what he said in his notebook, the words that he used, how he is saying she actually died, is out, and she being Gabby, or is out there in written word now, in his written word, or out for everyone in the public to see, or another part of the lawsuit that will be there, because if he was speaking of it in his notebook, if he was talking about it so readily, being so open about it, then when he went back home, it is possible, based on what he says in his notebook, that he went home to say goodbye to everyone. He knew he could not live without her. He knew he was contributing to her death. He knew he didn't want to live anymore without her in his life. He knew this for a while. And he went home to say goodbye. And he says so in that notebook. And this is going to come out in the lawsuit even more now, because it's more evidence towards that he pretty much may have told them everything when he went home. He may have confessed. Well, it's going to be kind of hard to prove because, not a fly in the room, not a fly on the wall, unless you've got actual tangible, he said, like a voice recording or someone who will actually attest to everything. Um, that's going to be hard to prove, but the speculation is there. It does look very suspicious. And they're going to let the case go forward. It's not getting tossed from court. So pretty much, it's tragic all the way around. Both sets of parents have lost a child in a horrible way. It's an untenable situation on all ends. Legally, I can see it's going to be pretty hard to prove, and that's why I'm following it. I want to see we can actually how we're going to actually be able to press charges when someone doesn't want to legally come forward with information that they have. To me, that's a pretty strong legal precedent there. Um, there could lead to laws that say if you know, you need to tell. I want to see how this goes. They're not criminal charges; they're civil. It's a little different. But for me, it's interesting to see where it'll go legally inside that courtroom, and that's why I'm following it with you all. There you go. Yeah. It's nice to see you back, Sandy and Shay. It's nice to have you here. I don't know what you're all doing for the 4th of July, but here in New Jersey, in my neighborhood, it's pretty loud right now because it seems everybody wants to celebrate with firecrackers or some fireworks and firecrackers and loudness. And my dogs are not very happy. So I apologize if you get some bleeding through of my dog who will pace a bit and be a bit more anxious than usual. But I don't want to put him by himself out there. So hopefully it's not too loud coming through. He just feels better if he's right here, even if he isn't cooperating. He don't care about YouTube. I can tell you that. He doesn't at all. Poor thing. Thank you for posting, Sue. So on Gabby, there's not a lot else that I can tell you about the case so far going forward, except for that they're going to actually proceed. I don't even have a date yet. Shay Won't says, if he told his parents, who shared it with the attorney is required to report. Yes, that's the other thing. Did the attorney know? Now, I'm going to hope. You see, the reason I'm not mentioning the attorney right out of the box is because I always go with the premise, and maybe naively so, that because it's an attorney and they're in the law, they know better. And they're not involved in any way. That the suit is basically about the parents, although the suit they are mentioned in it. They want to know what the attorney knew. But there is client attorney privilege, and they did try to arrange a meeting with Brian and that attorney, if I remember correctly, right, Shay? There was some talk that there may have been consultation and everything that was set up by the parents. They were trying to get him legal representation for what? Because Gabby was missing. Now, let's be fair. If it was my child and his girlfriend was missing and people were thinking he had something to do with it, I'd want him to have legal representation, not automatically think he did anything to the young woman. And that's reasonable, I think. Okay. Um, I think that's reasonable to think that they wanted him to have legal representation just because of the suspicions. It could go that way. It could also go the other way, that he did confess and they knew absolutely that he needed legal representation and got him such. But, how do we prove this without the lawyer actually testifying one way or the other? And can the court, in a civil court, make the lawyer do so? Okay. Because is it a crime for the lawyer to hold that information to himself? No, it is not. It is actually a requirement if he is if he is representing that person. Okay. And how far they're going to go with whether it's a crime or not to withhold that information if they interfered enough in the investigation to where the state will actually get involved and make it criminal that they interfered in the information that was put forth. Because right now, this is about duress. This is about not letting people know and allowing people to suffer an undue amount of time. Basically, the Laundrie's premise is that the Petito's premise against the Laundries is that you made us suffer for over a month when we didn't have to. It does not go under attorney-client privilege if a crime is committed. You're absolutely correct. Okay. But it is actually whether they can say that he was actually contracted at the time, and if it was about a criminal offense that he's been charged. Remember, he wasn't charged at the time, so the muddy, as you can see, Shay, the muddy waters are really, really gray around this whole thing, based on if he was actually being accused but not charged. What the parents may have known, what actually the lawyer was conducted about, who the lawyer actually worked for, the parents or Brian. There you go. It's a fine line there too. We could see that, right? I mean, legally, you guys like this stuff, right? You could see where that matters a lot. Who actually is the lawyer working for? What information they have to keep private or not is based on that. Okay, and always keeping a crime secret is not something, keeping that to yourself is not something that is protected. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's good to know, Sheil. I'm glad that they weren't. I'm glad. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I wish mine would settle a little. I feel really bad. It's been a long weekend of fireworks for them. But I know you're trying to be fair. Me too. I hear you, Shay. I really do. It's a hard one though, isn't it? It is a hard one to keep fair because it's so emotional, which is kind of why I kind of backed away from it at first. Shay says, I'm really trying to be fair here, but this attorney was a family friend. I get it. I hear you, and I have the same doubt and suspicion, and to feel that maybe that attorney needs to be listed as complicit, especially if they keep trying to skirt giving depositions and things like that. I am hoping that they do the most integrity minded thing and come forward with whatever information, and let it settle on both sides, on both sides. That that they could put it to rest, because with this continuing to go on, I don't see the Petitos getting any peace, and I really want them to have peace whatever they can find. It's a tragedy for both families, understood, but to keep blaming each other back and forth is not going to allow for healing, although I do feel that they feel they want the justice if they feel they are wrong. So I hope the court system can help them with that a bit, and that legally we find out exactly where a case like this might lie, because it's interesting. There's so much gray area here for me that I needed to be settled also, legally, or in this civil-minded case, on how far you can go to make someone else responsible for information that's put forward. This is hard because we are assuming he told his parents the truth. I suspect they knew something, and at the same time, we're getting blindsided by new info like the rest of the world. That is an absolute good possibility, and not without, it's very plausible, I would say, Juju. I kind of feel very similar. It's very hard to say what they knew and what they didn't know, and that's what's fascinating me about this. Maybe they didn't believe his version, but they chose to believe it because that is a lot to process and handle. Exactly. And if you have read the notebook on what's going around now, if he said anything like that, my heart goes out to them, having to hear what he went through, what she went through. Um, I can understand why they may have kept it to themselves. Not wanting him to be judged too harshly while he's trying to deal with it, especially knowing the mental state that he was in. It is clear by the words that he wrote. And I'm not going to weigh in either way whether I think he did something intentionally or not intentionally. His story is that it was not, it was a mercy, that he was doing something that was inevitable, and he was just it was an outcome that was going to happen anyway, and he was putting her out of her suffering. If you believe what he wrote and what he said, the way he acted afterwards, it is obvious that he has racked with guilt, whether it was a mercy or an accident or just something that happened in a fit of rage. However it happened, he felt responsible for her death, and he didn't want to live anymore. That was evident by that notebook. And that broke, I don't know about you guys, but based on everything I felt about Brian before, that was heartbreaking just to read human to human. To know that kind of suffering was there, to know that her life was gone in such a manner that she had suffered so, if what he says is true in those words. Mm. I do feel it was heartless, Shay. I feel there's a lot of heartbreak here all the way around. But if they did know, I think they could have been a little charitable in helping them know that she was gone at least. Not to implicate their son, but to try to find a way to ease their suffering that she, all that waiting over months that she could turn up and not knowing what happened. And I understand kind of both sides of it, really. It's just heartbreaking on both ends. Juju adds, I felt like the statement his parents made when the Petitos were starting the search was their way of saying, you are in the right spot. Well, there is that. Yes, let's go back to that. Thank you, Juju, because you were there from the beginning. I can see that you actually checked out this case from the start. I did not report on it from the start, but I had followed it privately a little bit. As we all did, because wasn't it not everywhere at the time? It was covered by everybody. But yeah, the parents did make a statement. Landry's parents made a statement, and they kind of alluded to it a bit, but not enough, I feel, to actually be taken that seriously. So that the parents got any relief. I think that statement is one of the reasons why the parents are suing. Also, the statements made on Facebook about stuff back and forth that kind of seemed a little bit callous, and I think that kind of pissed off the Petitos a little bit. They were hurt. Remember, these are people that knew each other well. Okay, were friendly. Their children dated for quite a while. This wasn't new. They're not strangers to each other. And I think they had a right to expect a little more care in their feelings than what they got. And I think that anger and that betrayal is what is fueling this lawsuit, to be honest. To know that they knew they were suffering and could have eased it and didn't do a thing. That they feel disregarded in some way. Usually, when someone brings a civil lawsuit against somebody, it's because they feel disregarded and, wronged against seriously in some way. It takes a lot to go to court and bear it all out there. You know. I am skeptical also of the notebook and everyone involved. I could agree with this statement, Sandy. I kind of hear you. The notebook and everyone involved, I get it, but it does appear to be his handwriting. Until the notebook, no one said anything about those feelings. I get it. I do. It is kind of suspicious with the lawsuit going on. I get it, but it did come from the FBI, the notebook, so I do believe that is true. Hello to T King. Welcome. Happy 4th, Mrs. Cassandra. Thank you for being here. Anyone else who slipped in I didn't see, thank you also. So it's a hard one. When you agree, guys, that this one is just not the easiest thing, to talk about, because we're all going to feel a certain way. Going to be interesting to see what happens either way, back and forth, with the court. I'm wondering if they're going to be able to settle it in mediation. Like, if you were the parents, I'd like to ask you, if you were Gabby Petito's parents and you were asked to go to mediation on this, which in most civil cases you are, how would you find a satisfactory settlement? What do you want from the Landrys? What would you want? I know what I would want. I would want a confession, um, and an apology, and a little honesty about how they felt about what was going on with their son, and just even just a little reach out in regard to how they might have felt. I think that's what I'd be looking for. But I can't see how a mediator could solve it, because hmm, how do you get them to work on it? What kind of suffering? Both sides lost the child, but if the Landrys would have helped, maybe Brian could have gotten therapy. Maybe Brian could have been alive, but that's another thing. Brian was truly suffering too there. Is he suffering the guilt of murder, or is he suffering the guilt of manslaughter, or a mercy killing, or a tragic accident? We don't know. We weren't there. He was definitely suffering, though. His guilt, his guilt is obvious from his words and overwhelming. And he did take his own life, as from what the words say. Um, I don't, you know, I don't think that's at any doubt. I haven't heard anybody doubt the fact that he took his own life. In the beginning, he did. There was a little speculation, but not anymore. Juju says, I kept wondering why the Landrys didn't do an anonymous letter providing info. I know they were scared. I just don't think I could have knowingly let people suffer like they did. Yeah, I hear you. It's hard to put yourself in their position. Just to understand that the tragic ending of two children's lives, the parents on both ends. It's really, really hard to understand. Hard to put ourselves there. Sandy says, when those first videos of the traffic stop, I was reading that young man's expressions and body language, and if anyone needs a lawsuit, those cops might deserve one. Yes, a lot of people felt that way, Sandy. That's a very common sentiment about a lot of us who saw that body footage as to why the cops didn't do anything and actually let the two of them leave together, knowing what was going on between the two of them. They could tell something was going on, and you knew it. They knew that there was something contentious between the two of them. Why they let them leave together, I don't know. They should have been separated at that point, not knowing who was a perpetrator or a victim. They didn't have clear evidence on who was doing what, but they knew something was going on. You could tell they were suspicious in those body cam footages, in what was going on. You could tell they were suspicious about what was happening. How they let them leave together. That's another thing. I guess we can't tell the future. It's a gamble either way. How much do they get involved? But that was unfortunately a tragic end. Yes, this I totally agree with. Juju, always with the words like coming right out of me with you. You just type it out for me. Thank you so much. We're often on the same wavelength here, but it is so hard to comprehend. So many emotions on both sides. So as much anger as I feel towards the Landrys, I also have sympathy for their loss and fear as well. Exactly. Who would want to be in that position? How would any of us, act in that position had it been our child? And how much did they know? We don't know exactly, um, how much we know, you know. I think you're right, Juju. My brain wouldn't work right in that situation either, and I would be that they felt great guilt and would do things differently. I would hope, maybe they have regret. I do. I think so. And maybe in mediation they can come to something like that. But I kind of agree with Always. I don't really feel that this one is going to be easy to mediate. I don't feel it's going to be a successful mediation. We may have to go legally with trial, and then that's a whole nother ball game. What can you actually prove legally happened here? Just think about that. How could they prove they had any malintent in keeping the Petitos from knowing, dealing what they were dealing with also. There's a lot on both sides. There's a lot on both sides. They could be charged with hiding info. This is correct, Autistic Shield, but they're not criminally being charged. This is a civil charge. This is a civil case, and criminally, no one in the investigation decided to press charges on them for what they withheld. That could be an issue in the civil case. If criminally they weren't charged with withholding evidence, how can we prove that they withheld evidence? Eh? It's going to be difficult. It is. But then again, in a civil case, we just have to convince a jury that there was intent, that that they had information they didn't disclose, and that the other party suffered because of it. I mean, that's what they're going to have to prove. Yeah, they were. Oh, that's right, Sandy. They did kind of for the one night. I think. I think you might be right there. But as I said, I didn't cover it deep enough to know exactly the exact. And then they met up and left together. But there are, in this case, actually a ton of, like you said, what the ifs going on. It's tragic all the way around. However that played out, it is definitely tragic on that. Yeah, I hear you, Sandy. Sympathetic, but they could have treated the family better, especially if anybody knows about that stuff that went on with Facebook. Basically, it was not a very nice tit for tat. It's like a oh well and blah blah, and kind of. It was not very sympathetic, and they blocked them. Here it is. They stonewalled the family. They stopped talking to them. They walked away, and just pulled in. I guess in protection of Brian and what he may have been accused of at the time. They actually blocked them on Facebook, refused to talk to the mother anymore, knowing that Brian was home. They knew that Gabby's parents were grieving. They trying to figure out where Gabby was. They didn't know anything happened to her or what happened to her yet. They just knew she was missing, and that the last one that was with her was Brian, and Brian and her left together, and now Brian was home. And no Gabby. So of course they wanted to talk to Brian. Of course they wanted to talk to the parents. And the parents, have caused this lawsuit kind of on themselves by, at that point, they chose to block the Petitos from communicating with them and chose not to cooperate with the investigators. And that made everybody very suspicious. And that hurt the Petitos very much, and I can understand why. In their deepest frustration, they're wondering what's going on with their daughter. They have the glimmer of hope that they can find out because Brian shows up, and the Laundries slam the door on them and give them nothing. Refuse to talk to them about it. That had to feel horrible. So you could understand how they got to the point that they want to press charges here. You can understand, I think. But yeah. Mm-hmm. You're right. You know what? And I don't even have any legal education either. I just love this stuff. But just looking at it humanistically, just and as a parent, both families lost a child. I'm just too tired to think because I think I was sad for both families. I feel you, Autistic Shield. I do. I feel this because, yeah, it's tragic all the way around. And that's what I'm saying. Like, you can understand the grief on both sides. You can understand the frustration, the confusion, the way their brains aren't working properly. I could see. Who could actually function at the best in that kind of situation? I know I wouldn't be able to. I can't imagine any parent would. Um, you know, you know, yeah, yeah, Juju, this could be true too. Mm. Yes, Autistic, they did bring the family lawyer into it pretty much as soon as Brian showed up. Yes, they did. And that is also a suspicious thing. But then again, not so much if you knew everybody was going to be asking him questions because he showed up without Gabby. You knew he was going to be suspect number one. He was the last one to be with her. They left together. He came home without her. She didn't come home. Of course he's going to be a suspect. So lawyering up is like not definitely sus, but it does contribute to the story, doesn't it? It definitely does, especially now. Juju says, I think they knew she was dead, but he didn't tell them he killed her. He told them that she hit her head story, and oh, excuse me, and they knew it didn't add up. This is also a good possibility. That they just knew something was up and he wasn't telling the truth, and they just wanted to get to the truth. So they didn't know what to tell the Petitos yet. That could be true too. Or it could be that they didn't know what to tell them because they didn't know what to believe. Or they didn't want to believe it themselves. Yes, Shay, the lawyers are going back and forth about it, too. And there is the Fifth Amendment to stand on. This is true. This is also, but, you can't stand on that Fifth Amendment and hide a crime, though, unless it's a crime for you. But, oh, and thank you. Thank you, Jude. I don't know where that came from. It just, an itchy one, an itchy sneeze. Yeah. More on that. Okay, we've got other ones. That's our first half hour gone on this case. Tragic as it is, let's move on to something not tragic, but how about ridiculous? You want to talk ridiculous a little bit with me, everybody? Okay, and you may have heard, our friend Amber Heard. Yeah, I say that loosely and sarcastically. Hope you heard it. Yeah. Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine Berda, filed a motion to have the verdict overturned. Yes, she did. Yes. Yes, she did. Now, we know that in the courtroom, Elaine was bumbling. I mean, we made fun of her a lot, right? I know I did on my channel. I covered that trial with over on Auditing the Absurd with Ranty every day. And I made fun of Elaine a lot. Okay? I really did. Because she was a little buffoonish sometimes, and I didn't understand where she was coming from, and it didn't look very professional a lot of the times, and she made some really big mistakes, like calling witnesses by the wrong name, and calling her own client by the wrong name when she called her to the stand, by arguing with the judge over objections, by making faces every time somebody said something, by starting all of her questions kind of weird, and trying to say the same thing over and over again in different ways, trying to get it in and still getting it bounced out. It was frustrating. I said she had bad legal manners at the time. I'm sorry if you hear the fireworks coming through. My home is not soundproof. I don't stream from a soundproof room. And apparently someone in the neighborhood has decided to scare my dog a bit. So you're going to hear a little bit, but anyway. My apologies if it bleeds through. Well, about Amber and her attorney, the things that they're trying to claim. First of all, it has to go to the judge. Let's be clear. This motion to overturn is not going to appeal yet. This isn't actually an appeal. This is a motion to actually toss the verdict out based on some precedences. And let me just tell you what Elaine's trying to talk about here. I will say, legally, I find some of what she wants to cover on this a bit fascinating. I'll say she's got some legal teeth when it comes to writing. How's that? That's my compliment for Elaine Berdoff's lawyering. When it comes to writing it out, she was a lot better than she was in the courtroom. How's that? I'd say it was, although I don't agree with a lot of what she has here, and I do think it's a bit ridiculous, I did actually find that she was a good legal writer in briefs. I enjoyed reading them. They were well laid out. The precedent was there. She used a lot of cases to back it up. She did a good job. How about that? I said it. Oh my God, I said it. I said Elaine Berdoff did a good job. Go ahead, clip that, put that out there. I did say it. But in this particular case, she did. Although it's not going to work because it's going to go to the judge. The judge is going to toss it out. They're going to say, nice, that's very nice. But no, if you want all of these, you're just going to have to appeal. Just take it to appeal because, I'm not dealing with it. And I don't blame them. If I was the judge, I would do exactly the same thing. And that's what I expect to happen. What I hear from the other legal channels, I follow like all the other legal channels. I don't want to form legal opinion. And this isn't legal opinion. This is just my opinion as a bear. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not even a paralegal. I just like this stuff. Yeah, I find it fascinating. And so I come from it sometimes in a little different angle than they do, but it seems like they agree. They are all saying that she was well written. Well, not all of them. Some of them are saying that it was very well written, which is happy to hear that they enjoyed reading it also. But again, they're all saying, no, it's not going to. There's nothing going to happen with the judge. The judge is going to say nope, because if y'all remember when she put the verdict down, did not we hear in writing that judge say, and absolutely, I am not entertaining any more motions on this. This is done. This is over. If you have something to say, take it to appeal. And what did Elaine do? 2 days later, she filed this. She didn't listen to the judge, but isn't that par for the course? Like she wouldn't listen to her in the courtroom either. She argued with her all the time, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Let's see. She's trying to get. Oh yes, Shay. I heard this. Oh, let me put this up. I'm really distressed about this. Like she's gone a little too far. Amber Heard is trying to get several channels shut down. By the way, yes, she is. Especially Tug. She is all over. That whole group is all over Tug, and they have been. You know, this isn't new. If you've all been following this, Tug is one of those like I that got really upset from the beginning about this, and has been following it from the start. Okay, following the evidence, you know, looking at incredibly average's evidence and videos and looking at all of the stuff and, you know, really report, you know, doing his commentary style reporting on it from the start. No fan of Amber, thought she was lying from the get-go. Okay, and has been an adversary of them on YouTube all along. But they are really all over him trying to get him shut down on stuff. I think they're going after Popcorn Planet. I did hear that. I haven't seen what the issue is there. But with Tug, it's basically about the information he has and how hard he goes. And rightly so. I mean, if that's what he believes, he's got every right to say so. And they're really, you know, they actually went so far as to put his real name out on Twitter this week. And I'm not going to pull it up because I don't want you all to go look for it or anything. But they're not right. These people that are going on him. You know, if you want to support Amber, support Amber. But don't be a doxer. Don't be like that because you lost. Okay, you know, don't be like that because you lost. Like they're being very, very nasty. While they accuse everybody else of doxing and bots and all this other stuff and attacking people, here they are doing exactly that to people. You know, and Tug's not taking it lying down. Like he documents it all. He puts it right out there. If you do it to him, he just puts it right out there. Don't forget Amber's team. They named him. Didn't they name him in a lot of this? You know, they made him famous right in the middle of the court. You know, they put his name out there. Yeah. So, yeah, they're going after a bunch of them, like anybody. And there was a lot to do with YouTube channels getting, you know, hit and demonetized and things like that over stuff because of the number of reports and attacks that were going on. You know, for them talking about bots and this and organizing people, they sure did a lot of it when it was against her. They really did try to silence people. For someone who says they need their voice out there, her team did a lot to silence people, or try to anyway. But it's not going to work because he's not doing anything wrong by talking about this. He has a right to. Yep, and they are doing a smear campaign. Yes, they're after Andy. Andy had a little bit of stuff going on in his background that they're trying to make a bigger deal out of, and that's a shame, Shay, like to do all of that. But he's like out there talking about it and trying to handle it. And you know, I feel terrible that they're all getting attacked this way. But. Believe me, I know once you come out here, you got to deal with crap. You do. And I don't think it should be happening to them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I see it too often. And that's how they're going to handle it. And I hope both of them come out hard and fight back against them. Because it's not right what they're doing. Just keep exposing what these lousy people are doing. That's all I can say is just expose it. Expose them for the arseholes that they are. You know, if they show their ugly asses, let them hang them out and point at them and laugh and do what you got to do. Right, people? Like, you know, just fall on the side that's right. Tug isn't doing anything wrong, and Andy didn't either in reporting on these. And they should leave them alone. How about not giving us anything to report on? How about concentrating on that? You know, how about not giving them anything to say? That would be good. You know, if you don't want them talking about you, that would be good, right? But that's just my opinion on it. I feel for them, you know. Yeah, they did. They doxed the wrong person trying to They put his name out. They put a bunch of people's name out. Yeah, they're crazy, right, Shay? It's like not right. They hurt innocent people that aren't even involved in trying to do the right thing, and then say that it's okay. You know, it's not right. It's just not right at all. Welcome, Arto. Yeah. But anyway, let's get on Elaine here before I run out of time, because you know I only want to go an hour. We got more on Amber besides this. So basically, Elaine, these are why she wants the verdict overturned. She said that there's no evidence of pecuniary damages from the op-ed. In other words, that no damage was caused by what she did in what she said in the op-ed. That the jury's compensatory and punitive damage awards were excessive as a matter of law, trying to use Virginia state law as to how much and things like that that can be awarded, but no, legally, from what everybody's saying, that's not going to hold water either. Mr. Depp is not entitled to damages from any conduct prior to the op-ed, trying to say that they used everything prior to the behavior, like 2016 and everything, that Amber brought into court as to the allegations to actually say that the op-ed that was done later, okay, you can't use any of that prior activity. But that's not necessarily true, because kind of that's what she's saying why she wrote the op-ed. She admitted that in the courtroom, did she not? As to why she wrote the op-ed, because of everything that happened before, and she didn't want him to get away with anything. So that's not going to hold. Mr. Depp is not entitled to damages for alternative causes, including the Sun publication, the ensuing litigation brought by Mr. Depp, the UK trial and surrounding publicity, and the UK judgment. Okay, she's trying to say that because the UK judgment was against him, that they can't actually use any of the evidence or anything like that in there, which came forward to help with their decision in this case. But let us be reminded that the only ones to bring in the UK case repeatedly during this trial, can I give you all like one guess who that was? What side was that? Was it the plaintiff or the defendant? Was it Johnny Depp's team or was it Amber Heard's team that repeatedly brought up the UK trial and the evidence that was there? Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, Shay, if she thinks that they didn't prove their case, she was obviously sleeping during the financial testimony of Johnny's team. Yes, I agree. I totally agree. That's so funny that she actually thinks they didn't prove that part of the case, because they did that really well. Multiple sources proving financial loss based on that op-ed coming out and disparaging against his character. Okay, it hurt him in the pocketbook, and they proved it. And that's what they had to prove. And the jury agrees. I mean, we all know 7 yeses on 3 different questions. 3 out of 3, all yeses, not 1 no, proving defamation. Okay, she did it with malice and intent. Okay, Virginia case law supports setting aside damage judgments that are excessive. Yes, there is, but these weren't excessive. They were underneath what is allowed. Okay. Now, when they went for punitive damages, yes, the jury originally set a figure, but the judge just brought it back down to the maximum. That's all. Like, she can't really get the verdict tossed because the jury wanted to give him more. They didn't end up giving him more. So she can't. You know what I mean? She just can't. Okay. The verdicts on the complaint and counterclaim are inconsistent and therefore should be set aside. Not necessarily true. Okay. This one, I don't even understand where she's coming from. Okay. I really don't. She's saying that because Amber was awarded some money for number 2 about Waldman, okay, that Johnny cannot, obviously, that's in conflict. That, you can't have both of them defamating each other. That it wipes each other out. But that's not true, because when they looked at Johnny's side, right, they were looking at the abuse. And if you noticed in the counterclaim with Amber, there were 3 statements that Waldman made. 2 of them included abuse statement, the abuse in some way. Okay, they didn't say anything about those. Okay, they didn't indicate Johnny at all. They went for the one that was about talking about what happened in the penthouse, about people giving false testimony and or setting up a hoax, but not about any abuse claim and that. So those can't be in contrary to each other because they're about different things. Okay, so I kind of don't think that one's gonna have anything there. The First Amendment bars recovery for defamation by implication when the statements at issue are true on their face and involve a public figure or matters of public concern. This one, some of the legal people are saying has teeth, but not with the judge. Maybe if it goes to appeal. And that is because he was a public figure. You can't just automatically infer that she was talking about him just because they knew each other. And that she didn't say enough in the op-ed to actually infer that it was him just because they knew each other 2 years before. That there wasn't enough talking prior to the op-ed to indicate that it was Johnny Depp. Okay. I think that maybe, but no. I know that she was out there talking a lot. Okay, for the ACLU, she was their ambassador, and she was out there speaking on this quite a bit. And every time she spoke on it, we know from the testimony that she gave that she meant Johnny. Okay, but they're trying to say you can't use that, and I want to see where that goes legally, if that has any teeth on it at all. The other thing is, and this is the one that blows my mind away. Absolutely blows me away. She's saying because the lawyers didn't pick up on a possible mistypo of who was who on the jury number 15 having the wrong birth year, not the wrong name, not the wrong person. They actually showed up in person, okay, for jury selection, and both sides picked them, looking at them, knowing by looking at them what age group they're in, okay? They saw him face to face. Okay, jury number 15, they saw face to face. They know who they were dealing with, okay? And she's trying to get it tossed out because in the court documents it says he was born in 1945, and obviously he wasn't, from what they're saying, okay? That is so bizarre. So bizarre. Okay? Because, they interviewed them themselves and allowed them in. They selected them. They could have bounced them at that time. They didn't. They had the same documents in front of them. So that, neither side gets to say, oops, I didn't catch it. Like, so you're going to overturn everything because I didn't do due diligence. No, that don't happen. That's not going to happen. Come on, that's ridiculous. I mean, that one's a little foolish there, don't you think? Just a little bit. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think the judge is gonna set aside the verdict? Can you give me a 1 for yes and a 2 for no? I'm just playing here because I kind of think I know what you're gonna say. But if you think the judge is actually going to go with Elaine on this, and Amber's just going to get everything tossed over and get a brand new trial because of this, because she deserves a brand new trial to go through this all again based on the fact of what Elaine has said here. I don't think so. Mine's a big fat no. I'm a number 2. Shay's a number 2. Juju's a number 2. Thank you. I'll put it there. There's my 2 to join you. And hopefully most of them, yep, Kim too. Okay, here we go. Because I hope most of you on out there on YouTube, you're telling me the same thing. No, she's gonna toss it. Now, whether it goes through to appeal, basically somebody has to think some of this has teeth to go through. Okay. Judge Ascarati will throw the pieces of worthless paper in the trash. Thank you, Artu. Yes, yeah, I would hope so. Especially since she said, don't put any more motions on me. We're done with this. And then what did Elaine do? She don't listen. She don't listen to the judge. She just went and did it. Yep. I know, Shay, she's dogging her in public, too. I mean, it's not going to go well. It's definitely not. I do. I agree that it's not. But we're not done with Amber. I'm going to go a couple minutes late because, of course, I got, Amber, she got to give me more, right? She can't let me stay within 1 hour of time here. Nope. Because Amber's been busy. Mm. And not so much Amber, but Law and Crime is reporting that Amber Heard is seriously looking to actually have a problem with Australia still. Okay. Um, mm. There is someone over in Australia who, during one of the things, let's see, came forward and wanted to know why Australia was taking so long to actually press charges. Okay, there's a clip on Twitter. You may have seen it. Okay, going back and forth. But actually, Australia has answered that they are, you know, this is the statement. A retired FBI agent and attorney, Bobby Chacon, said it would not be unusual for the FBI to assist a foreign government with an investigation such as this. The FBI maintains an office in Canberra, and there are FBI agents permanently assigned to Australia. And part of their mission is liaison and assistance, so that Australians needing something from here in the U.S., they would certainly contact that FBI agency. Okay, so a spokesman for the agency investigating Heard. Australia is investigating Heard. They talk, per this Law and Crime article, they say that she is under investigation. Okay, and that they're investigating her for perjury during the court proceedings for 2015's illegal importation of 2 dogs in Australia. And they're using the UK testimony about it. Remember, go back up here and get his name. Kevin Murphy testified, right, that he did not tell Amber it was okay to bring them in. He said that he testified the opposite, that he told Amber she should not bring those dogs in because they did not fill out the proper paperwork, and that they hadn't done the quarantine period of time, and that there could be trouble. But Amber said that he told her, she actually said in the UK trial that Kevin Murphy told her it was okay, that they had filed all the paperwork. Not so. Okay. During an Australian Senate committee in October, Senator Glenn Steele, and that's the little clip you're hearing, he appeared to be incensed that Heard had not yet been charged because they've been looking at this for quite a while now. At that point, he said the investigation had been underway for more than a year. Okay, and he wanted to know. The clip says, how could this take so long? He's actually in the clip saying, how long does it actually take for you guys to prove it when it's in black and white? And he wanted to know if he needed to start a Senate inquiry. And in response, Australia's Director of Biosecurity, Andrew Metcalf, told Sturl that all of the individuals involved in the dog incident live were overseas. Therefore, he said the Australian Federal Police and prosecutors had to rely on help from foreign collaborating bodies. Okay, and he said, we can only get a conviction if we work with our partners at the AFP and the Director of Public Prosecutions and with international partners. As much as we might want to pursue this matter, we have to go in the queue behind all the other matters that these organizations are dealing with and our intentional partners are dealing with. We're pursuing the matter and we don't intend to go away on it. In other words, they're not letting it drop. It is taking a long time. It definitely is taking a very long time, but they're not going to let it drop. Okay. And here it will also confirm that during the defamation trial in Virginia, it appeared that Camille Vasquez, remember when she tried to mention Australia's dog incident, but Elaine got that stricken immediately. There was a sidebar and it wasn't brought up again. And it could be fairly enough because she is under current investigation. And if they can prove that she was under investigation, then they wouldn't be allowed to talk about it at the time. An email sent to FBI headquarters in Washington asking about the FBI's assistance in the case was not received a response as of Monday. Now, that's reporting from Law and Crime. They're saying they didn't get any response back. Typically, however, the FBI does not comment on active investigations, and attempts to reach an FBI spokesperson by phone were unsuccessful by the time this article came out, which was just 2 days ago. I'll link this article so you can play the videos for yourself if you like. I'll give it to you in the chat, and then of course I will put it in the description for those of you listening later on YouTube. It will be down there by the end of the day, but I didn't get it in there for today. Hey, Kyle's Goldfish, how are you? Oh, that's okay. We're just doing updates. And most of this, Kyle, you have actually heard a lot of it already. But ha ha ha, Elaine's actual motion to set aside. If you don't have a copy of it, let me know. I'll send you a link to a Google Drive. It's actually entertaining reading. She's actually well written legally. You might enjoy it. But I don't think it holds water, not with the judge. A couple of the legal people backtracking do say it has a little bit of teeth in some of the things, some interesting things she brings up. The rest of it, bollocks. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, no way. Not gonna fly. I really don't think so. I suspect that the judge is going to definitely bounce that back out and just say, nope, denied, and just make her appeal. She's gonna say, take it to the appeals court. You have a right to appeal. You go ahead and appeal if that's what you want to do, right? Because, yeah, no way, no way. And look at that. It's right on the hour, actually. It's only 5 o'clock. Look at that. I did all three in five, in an hour. Which was my goal, because I don't like to keep you too long on these. I mean, we could go. I know you all. We could talk and talk and talk, right? Yeah, I'll watch the replay when you're done. And can you DM me? I will, actually, Kyle. I actually will. I will. I did put it in the description link if anybody wants to read it, but definitely I'll send it to you personally. Oh, absolutely going to do that right after. And let me see. Some of these comments are very, very good. All right. Luke says, I am worried, though, as Malcolm McConnelly, the Scottish bodyguard, incriminated himself in the dog smuggling. He kind of did. I don't want him to get in trouble, but he kind of helped them. Yes, he did. With what they were going to do, because he was the bodyguard. And, yeah, and he was a nice guy. I really don't want him to get into trouble, but it sounds like mostly the person responsible for the forms, which is Amber, okay, is the one that's going to get in trouble the most. I don't want them to be in trouble. If you watch, also in the article that I just put in there, there's also Amber's and Johnny's apology to the UK, and it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. And I'm interested, you guys can get back to me later on what you think about that performance that she did, on whether she's really maybe that's why she's so mad, I know, Juju. We could discuss all of this until bedtime. I'm going to give you a couple minutes, and then I am going to cut you off, because I miss you all. You don't understand. Like that, I got such a treat when we were covering Depp and Heard to see you all like every morning and have coffee with you and talk legal like every day. I like had a whole bunch of you around, and to do what I normally do every day, which is go over a little bit of legal stuff on my own. With a cup of coffee, but I enjoyed having my cuppa with you every day, and seeing what you guys thought about stuff and bouncing things off you. I got a little spoiled, so I do miss you, and I do look forward to these Mondays talking about legal stuff again when we do it. Luke, definitely a slap on the wrist for him. She put some manipulation on him for sure. Yeah, exactly. Like, I think he could be named, but I think if he testifies for Australia and tells them the truth and brings everything forward, maybe he won't get penalized as strongly, as being complicit. Yes, I do, Juju. I miss it, And Kyle says, don't worry about Big Malcolm. Scotsman isn't daft, and it wasn't his dogs. He was following his employer's orders so he can play dumb. That's a good angle there, too. Especially if he comes forward and gives all the information when asked. That he was put in an untoward position by this woman who was his employer at the time. Yes, I get it. No, that's not our topic. You could talk about that. Jay and I used to do a lot of stuff together, right? Jay is on a little bit of a break. He's not doing anything on his channel. He's not doing anything with Hereticals and or myself right now. He's just taking a needed, everybody needs a break here and there. And he's just doing his thing right now. And when he comes back and decides what he's going to do, well, I'll be here. And as soon as I know, you'll know. Right now, I really don't have anything else about it, except for that, everything seems to be okay. He's healthy. I know he's around. He's well, but we're not streaming legal or true serial or any of that. He's not even doing cults and conspiracies over at Hereticals, which is another one of the things that he loved to do that some of you may have followed him on. But, That's all I really have. He's just taking a break. As he said, he was taking a break and he'd be back. When he's ready, I'm sure he'll let us all know. Uh, but in the meantime, I'll let him know you miss him. Because I do. I do. Hey, Autistic Shell, thanks for the super sticker. Thanks for being me. You mean me? Well, thank you. That's a cute little dancing pair that you put up there. And thank you, Autistic Shell. And thank you for being you. And always being so helpful in the chat. And helping out by modding for me. I do actually very honored and humbled that you do. So thank you very much, as I am with all my mods, all of you blue who help me do these. You take care of the chat so I can just go ahead and do what I do up here and concentrate on what I do. But yeah. Nope, you didn't miss anything new, Shay, but that's another thing. I mean, we will be covering other cases. This was just an update because like some little things came through, but I am looking at some quite interesting new things to show for you guys, and I'll be putting up a poll as to what you may want to hear next on true crime and legal updates and what type of case. And hopefully you'll all participate on the back of the community tab on my channel and give me some feedback, because I do like to hear from you. I want it to be just as entertaining for you as much as I love this stuff. It doesn't do me any good to do it alone, does it? Because if you don't like it, why bother? Why bother? I want to do it all with you guys. So all you murder minions, either in the Discord, if you're there in the Discord, go ahead and comment. If you're not there yet, and you want to get in there, there's a very reasonable way to get in as a murder minion. It's like $1.99, I think, to get into that Discord. But you don't have to be in that Discord to let me know. You can comment on the back of any video. You can DM me your information too on what you would like to see covered or how you think it should go. You're gonna about Bob the Pigeon. Bob the Pigeon. Is that a person or it's an inside joke that I'm missing here? Bob the Pigeon. Family annihilators are rough, Juju, but I have covered them before. So don't hesitate. I mean, if it's too rough for me, I'll be honest and tell you. Like if hey, and anybody who wants to help with research or even to be part of it or even to give their opinion on anything, let me know. I'm open to having you all up here. I think everybody's voice is valuable about this stuff. True crime is something everybody likes to get into together. We're not legal. We're not criminal. We're not detectives. But it's fun, and we all like it. And I think we should all do it as much as we like. So, you have to cover Bob the Pigeon. Okay. It sounds like, Luke, you should send me some information because I see you got a second in there from Shay. And Shay knows interesting. It's a racing pigeon from UK who got lost and ended up in Alabama. All right, now you have to sing. Now, come on, that kid, come on, really? All right. I will do a few minutes on. You send it to me, and I will do it. I'll do it. That sounds actually cute. That might be fun. All right, send it to me. On that, I'm gonna put the outro on. I'm gonna say thank you all for being here. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, whether it be Monday. Or if you're in Australia, it's Tuesday. If you're watching this on another day, I hope you're having a good one. But be good to each other. Be good out there. Send me the stuff, Kyle, I see your question. I'm sorry. When is the next January 6th hearing? I think we're on a 2-week break. I don't expect it until the middle of July, actually. But as soon as it's up, I will let you know because I will be covering it. Tomorrow, I have Am I the Asshole on my channel. It'll be a late night one. I'm sorry, UK. It is going to be very late. It's 10 o'clock US time. So that is like 2, 3 a.m. your time. So replay might be the option. But I am doing it with Jared, our human. Oh, she's like, I just love doing them with her. We get along great, and we're going to be reading some Am I the Asshole Reddits and voting on that, as you know. And then I'm very excited to say that on Thursday, I have Joe from Answers and Reasonings join me for a library chat. We're going to talk about language and choosing our language carefully to properly express ourselves and having actually intelligent discourse with people and how important that is. How language can go astray, mean different things to different people and all of that. It should be a very interesting conversation, but I think so. All right, everybody. On that, I'll see you around. I'll definitely. Hey, Chris! Yes, I am having a 3 a.m. stream, and am I the asshole? Yes, I'm the asshole for having it at 3 a.m. your time, Chris. But I own it. I always told you, I am one of the biggest assholes out there, and I own it. But yes, my co-host needs a later time. But there's always replay, Icarus, and they're just as funny. They are. They are. So I hope if you can't be up at 3 a.m. that you at least will watch the replay. And thank you for coming. I hope you watch the rest of this. This was some interesting stuff in here as far as legal for you. But thanks for joining. And on that, I'm going to put the outro on just like I said, like what, 5-10 minutes ago? Liar that I am. All right. I am going to do it this time. But thank you all, everyone. Thanks for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.